A woman made of marble stands alone in the British Museum. She longs for her lost sisters, housed together in the Acropolis Museum in Athens. That is almost 1,500 miles away. She is a caryatid, stolen from Greece by Lord Elgin over 200 years ago. Legend has it that on her voyage to England, she could be heard weeping from within her crate. No wonder they say the British Museum is full of ghosts. She represents to many, including myself, the ruthlessness of the British, pilfering the lands they once tyrannised. Those days of colonisation are formally over, but many items of cultural significance, often acquired through illegal or unethical means, are still trapped in the UK. In the British Museum alone, these include a Moai head statue from Easter Island, the Benin bronzes from Nigeria, and the Parthenon marbles from Greece. And this is without mentioning millions more in its 8 million wide collection. I'm sure that many listening have enjoyed what the great museums of our country have to offer, all that wealth of enchantment, inspiration, and knowledge. As a child, visiting these artefacts encouraged me to fall in love with history and the world around us, a romance that continues to this day. One item deeply personal to me is the Kohinoor, because it comes from the same place as my dad's side of my family, Pakistan. This infamous diamond, which is now part of the British Crown Jewels, is currently locked up in the Tower of London, when it should be in the Indian subcontinent. I remember visiting the Crown Jewels when I was 10 and marvelling at their beauty, but I was oblivious to the dark history surrounding them. It happens that 10 was also the age of a boy called Duleep Singh, when the British forced him to sign a legal document to hand over the jewel. A 10-year-old signing a document giving away one of the most expensive jewels in history doesn't exactly sound like fair game, does it? So I don't think it would come to any surprise to you when I say that many believe the Kohinoor is cursed. We can't be selfish and keep these treasures for our eyes only. Anyway, 99% of the British Museum's collection isn't even on show. They are the world's largest receiver of stolen goods and are hoarding most of them behind closed doors. Their silence is deafening, so much so it caused the resignation of their own trustee member, Adaf Suif. In her online post following her resignation, she said, "The British Museum, born and bred in empire and colonial practice, is coming under scrutiny, and yet it hardly speaks." I agree with her, but don't just blame the museums. The government has repeatedly avoided the topic of restitution, and that is shameful. 95% of Africa's cultural heritage remains outside the continent. These items are key to forming the identities of relatively new nations. It is a matter of dignity to these countries that these items are returned to places they will be duly preserved. Why does the government support restitution of items stolen during the Holocaust, but not of those stolen during colonialism? After all, when you consider atrocities committed by the British, including the Bengal famines, the partitioning of India, and the Mau Mau concentration camps, it's hard to deny that these can also be considered acts of genocide. At the moment, countries are being offered loans of their own items. Last year, the V&A offered Ethiopia a loan of items plundered by British troops in 1868. Why? Because British law forbids a permanent return of the items. This is embarrassing. These items don't belong to us. We must grant the descendants of those who created them the right to ownership once more. Once more will their children be able to be inspired by their ancestors. Quite simply, stolen artefacts that reside in this country must be returned. I am not advocating for a cultural ghetto, each item only housing its own heritage. Simply that sovereignty over artefacts must be transferred back to the rightful owners, who then have the right to loan or exchange artefacts back to us. Britain must free itself from the antiquated and paternalistic mindset that guide those who oppose restitution. Cooperation and trust is the way forward. Museums in the UK can and should foster this cooperation and trust through sharing skills and exchanging perspectives with museums that long for their missing items. This would guarantee quality conservation. In this country, rule of law dictates that if something is stolen, it should, when possible, be returned to its owner. When will the government finally ratify the 1970 UN Convention on illegally exported cultural objects? What better time than now? Brexit was meant to be about Britain opening up to the world. Helping to facilitate repatriation would be a victory for British diplomacy, finally shedding our country of its entrenched colonial arrogance. When will the government follow in the footsteps of countries such as France in a commitment to restitution? Their sinful handling of the issue makes their hands as bloody as those who took the objects. No wonder they say the British Museum is full of ghosts. Thank you.